during that time.
Okay. Hello, welcome to this public meeting of the Princeton Board of Education. The board is an elected, unpaid group of 10 citizens who set policy and make decisions on educational, financial, and personnel matters for the Princeton Public Schools on behalf of all residents. We're always pleased when members of the community attend our meetings. The board and the school district operate under applicable New Jersey laws and under regulations of the New Jersey State Board of Education. Each meeting includes 2 opportunities for those attending to comment on items on the published agenda or other matters of interest to them. The board reserves the right to limit the time allotted to public participation. Law limits discussion of individual personnel and confidential matters. We hope our meetings provide useful opportunities for communication between the board and the community. Thank you for attending.
Notice of open public meeting as required under the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 1046. Adequate notice was given for calling this meeting. It was authorized by the Board of Education and forwarded to the municipal clerk, Princeton Packet, and the Times on January 9th, 2025, and distributed to the schools and others on the standard distribution list. The board reserves the right to enter into executive session during all meetings of the Board of Education. Board Policy 0168, recording devices, requires that we inform those attending this in-person meeting that the proceedings are being recorded. This meeting is being live streamed. Notice on votes pertaining to the sending district. The representative of the sending district is authorized to vote on such matters that affect sending district students or affect the governance of the Princeton Public Schools, as more specifically designated in NJSA 18A 3881. Sending district votes pertaining to personnel actions refer to high school, central administrative, and district-wide staff only. Votes otherwise are considered abstentions. In the event that NJSA 18A 3881 is amended, the law shall take precedent over this bylaw.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you. All right, roll call. Daphne Kendall.
Here.
Susan Cantor.
Here.
Beth Bayron.
Here.
Adam Bierman.
Here.
Debbie Braunfeld.
Here.
Laura Franceschi.
Here.
Eleanor Hubbard.
Here.
Ari Mizell.
Here.
Christopher Santarpio.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Can I get a motion for the adoption of the minutes for November 18th? Ari, second. Chris?
Daphne Kendall.
Yes.
Beth Bayron.
Yes.
Adam Bierman.
Yes.
Debbie Braunfeld.
Yes.
Laura Franceschi.
Yes.
Eleanor Hubbard.
Yes.
Susan Cantor.
Yes.
Ari Mizell.
Yes.
Christopher Santarpio.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. So we're going to switch things up a little bit. We're going to start. I have a few comments. Dr. LaSousa has a student that will be speaking with us. And then we have a little tribute to our departing board, or exiting. I love how it says exiting board member. I guess it's better than departing. Exiting board member, Debbie Braunfeld. And then we're going to have, because Debbie told her children that we would have a 15-minute break for cake. So I didn't want to let anyone down. So we'll have a 15-minute break, and then we'll have cake, and then they can leave, and we can get on, as Debbie told, right? That's what you told them. Okay, great. So anyway, thank you. Welcome to this meeting, our last meeting of the year. And to quote one of my favorite artists of the year, Shabuzi, oh, what a hell of a year it's been. And so I just wanted to sum it up. I was going to sing, but I didn't. So we started the year by appointing Dr. LaSousa as superintendent, and so that seems to be going beyond expectations. So thank you for that. We also, Mr. Harris also joined us over the past year, and as did Mrs. Baldeo. So we're excited to have you all here. We're a better district for it. So for that, thank you for that. Then also in January, we passed an 89-point-something million dollar referendum by 70% to 30%. And, one of the great things about being in this position is that our community truly supports public education, both financially and with our content. And so we're grateful for that. In March, we signed it's really a pilot agreement, but it's really a shared services agreement with the town, where we're one of the only districts in the state that has revenue sharing with a pilot. So again, we're very grateful to the town council for that participation. And, we hope it's the beginning of many more such arrangements. But in the interim, people have reached out to us from across the state asking, how we did it. So again, thank you to especially the town council, but especially Mia Sachs and Brian McDonald. And so now we're here today, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Dr. LaSousa.
Thank you for the retrospective, Ms. Kendall. That was very nice, and it's great to be here. There are two parts to my section of the agenda. One of them is a curricular presentation that Dr. Tu will introduce in just a minute after the cake.
Yes, I want to make sure.
But the first is a student presentation. And about a month ago, a couple of students at the high school asked to interview me for a piece they were doing on student-issued devices and website access and so forth. And the young man who's with us was funny because he was interviewing me and he was asking me about the websites that we had decided to block this year. And of course, I have no idea which websites are blocked, and explained that really is part of the algorithm or the software package that our tech department deploys. So I asked him, well, which ones? Can you give me some specific ones? Maybe I can take them back. And he's like, well, it's just ones that students like. And I was like, come on, can you just give me one? So finally he coughs up, well, we really like to order online from Mahmoud's. And so of course, I pounded the table and said, I will rectify that immediately. That's an outrage. But after our interview, we spoke for a couple of minutes, and I asked the students if they were interested in journalism. And this young man, Aritra Ray, shared with me that he had authored a grant and won a grant from the New Jersey Civics Consortium in the amount of $13,700 that is going to the Princeton Public Schools. It's actually on our agenda under number 10 or so, but we will be accepting that donation tonight. And the award will be used basically to bolster the tower and everything that Aritra and his classmates are doing to keep journalism alive and keep civics at the front and center of what we do. So I've asked Aritra just to come and share a little bit about what the grant is about and what he was thinking when he wrote it. And then, of course, we can ask him a question or two when he's finished. Thank you, Aritra.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. LaSousa, for the introduction, and thank you for the board for having me tonight. As Dr. LaSousa mentioned, this grant has been a process for the tower, but it has been such an excellent experience for all of our members. My name is Aritra. I'm a junior at Princeton High School, and I'm the managing editor of the tower. The tower is now in its 97th year, and it has been a cornerstone of the Princeton High School experience. And so I just want to start by thanking our advisors, Dr. Lewandowski and Ms. King, for their continued support for all our journalistic endeavors. And so what I want to start with is this grant was all about breaking down barriers to entry within our newsroom. And when we were writing this grant, we really had to dig deep. We had to understand what were the implicit barriers to entry that students face when joining the tower. And one of them we noticed was iPads and cameras that visual staff had to provide when they wanted to take photographs or draw graphics for the tower. And this isn't really spoken about, but when we thought about why our staff wasn't as diverse as we liked it to be, this came up as one of the main issues. So as part of this grant, we decided to invest in iPads and shared cameras for our staff. And all of this goes to say is that the main reasons we chose to pursue this grant was to bolster the journalistic pipeline within Princeton, but also to make the tower a more diverse and true representation of the students it is for. And so our grant is titled Building a 21st Century Newsroom, and that is embodied in every part of this grant. One of the other key parts are our modernization efforts. So as part of the grant, we're purchasing printers, we're purchasing new transcription software that builds journalistic integrity within our newsroom. It boosts our journalistic ethics, and that is something we want to always emphasize, especially in our current 21st century media landscape. And we've always had the pride of being one of the few print public high school newspapers in Mercer County and the surrounding areas, and we are continually thankful for the board for that support when it comes to our printing expenses, but it also means that we often don't have funds beyond our operational expenses, and that is where the grant came in. It gave us an opportunity to invest in our long term. it allowed us to invest in keeping the tower alive for more than just the next month, more than just the next invoice for our printing, right? So that's what this grant was all about. It was about helping more students participate in the tower, but also allowing new stories that often go overlooked to be pursued. As another specific example, we have a multimedia team, but as we've grown, we've noticed that people really don't take you seriously when you're filming using an iPhone. So as part of this grant, we decided to invest in cameras and new pro video recording software. And all of that is helping us build a more robust multimedia team. And as part of this grant, it helps us modernize and really build together the tower as a modern 21st century newsroom. So yeah, thank you so much.
Very exemplary because as a grad at Princeton High too, same problem when I was there. They couldn't keep how can we keep the lights on next month? And it's great that you're giving some leeway, padding, endowment. I appreciate that. And does anyone actually read the print part anymore?
We hope. We distribute over 400 copies each month within our school. So I often get comments from Ms. Burge, the principal, but also, teachers saying like, oh, I read your piece, or, this is great reporting on this issue. And funny enough, Ms. Kendall mentioned all of these great milestones for the board and the district this year, and the tower has reported on every single one of them. We've tried to bring in new perspectives from community members and really tried to help the students understand the important issues and the developments going on within the district.
Can I ask a second question? Did you find you did get diverse students showing up, ones who never thought about even joining the tower?
Yeah, and we're actually hoping to directly collaborate with groups such as MSAN, so the Minority Student Achievement Network, as well as Latinos Unidos. These are often groups that, have stories that want to be shared, but don't know the avenues for that. So through this grant, we have actually very specific targets we need to hit to, receive all of our funding. So through this grant, we want to really do targeted outreach to these groups and others to help bring their stories to life.
I think I'm going to see you in the news someday.
Yeah. Do you want
In a
to?
good way.
Thank you so much for this. And can you remind us again how many students actually participate in the tower every year? I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Of kids, right?
So our newsroom consists of 70 high school students, and 40 of those are staff. So it is one of the top, clubs, activities
Right.
within the tower.
40 kids. And you produce every month, you produce an issue.
Mhm.
How many pages approximately?
16.
16 pages. And can you remind for people, it's possible to subscribe, right?
It
Like,
is.
Can you tell that I had two children that were very involved here? I think the tower is an amazing, and the fact that we
delivery, right?
still, yeah, they'll mail it to you. My point is that we can, adults and parents can subscribe and get it at home in the mail or
Mhm.
dropped off at their house, however you do it.
Exactly. Yep.
And is that available on your website, or how do people get that information?
Yeah, so our website is thetowerphs.com, and right when you get to that website, on the top left, you'll see a subscribe link, and those subscriptions are really so important to helping us continue our mission. And yeah, so we have so many parents that subscribe, but we're always looking for more adults, to help spread the work that we're doing. So yeah, thank you so much.
And as a parent, I'll just say, often your child doesn't really tell you much about what goes on in high school, which is normal, but you can read the paper. I read the paper and find out. It's quite informative. Thank you.
As a Princeton High School student, I do want to say the tower is very well respected at Princeton High School. On distribution day, a reacher is going around. Kylie, who is one of the senior editors, is going around. They're always like coming into classes. They're like, "Do you want the tower? Do you want the tower?" We have like newsstands in the hallways that have it. It's printed on looks like a newspaper. It's like the kids love it. It's really good. Thank you.
The kids love it. The adults love it too. Thank you so much. And we appreciate, your efforts to expand, the access to other students in the district. So thank you for that.
Thank you
Ms.
so
Kendall,
much.
can I
Ms.
just ask
Kendall.
one quick question? Thank you so much for your efforts. I think this is really great work, and it is an institution in the high school. So one of my favorite pieces of PPS swag is my tower sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to be selling swag again to help boost the newspaper funds as well?
We hope to be this December. So again, keep an eye out for that
Please
as well.
send it to Valley Road as well, because I know Dr. LaSusa was checking out that sweatshirt too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm on it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much.
Great
Thank
job.
you for coming tonight. That was great. Thank you. All right, now we're moving on to item E1, tribute to exiting board member Debbie Bronfeld. So I'll say something if some other board members want to say something, and then we'll open up to public comment if anyone wants to say something, and then we'll adjourn for cake. And that's not in the order of priority either. Cake is first. All right. So I just wanted to say, Debbie, as you conclude your service on this board, I want to take a moment to thank you, not just for the time you gave, but for the spirit in which you gave it. Board services is demanding, often invisible, and rarely simple. And Debbie approached it with, oh, I didn't give you do you need tissues? Deja vu, right? Deja vu. Okay, she's like tearing up. Ready? Okay. Debbie approached it with thoughtfulness, preparation, and a genuine commitment to doing what was best for our students and our community. She asked many questions, listened respectfully to differing viewpoints, and never lost sight of the responsibility we carry as stewards of the public trust. But Debbie's most important focus was the students. Debbie, they say, I wasn't able to find out who, that public service is about leaving a place better, than you found it. I was talking about the tissues. Thank you. They say that public service is about leaving a place better than you found it. And looking at our schools today, it's clear that you have done exactly that. For 9 years, you've been a steady hand and a passionate voice in the room. Whether the task was navigating complex budgets, advocating for equity, or simply ensuring that every student felt seen and heard, you approached it with a unique blend of tenacity and heart. You didn't just show up to meetings, you showed up for our community. And we always knew that when Debbie said, look it, we were in for a problem. Debbie, thank you for the late nights, the tough decisions, and your unwavering belief in the potential of all our students. We're a stronger district because of your leadership, and we wish you the very best in your next chapter. All right, anyone else want to say anything? Sure, go ahead.
Well, I just want maybe a different perspective. Congratulations.
Oh.
Congratulations, Debbie. We've had some disagreements, but to me, that's a good thing. I think our founding fathers wanted democracy to be contentious, at times messy and slow. And sometimes consensus could be overrated. But for the past 9 years, you've not been on the sidelines. You're in the game, really in the game. And as my dad said, anyone who would go on the board has to be a little crazy sometimes. but through tumultuous times, COVID, renaming schools, a lot of superintendents. You've also been willing to go, in my opinion, against the status quo at times, disclosing sometimes not helpful emails, raising concerns about high tops. To me, that's real courage, though, because it's not about protesting some vague issues that don't always directly affect you. Sometimes it takes really courage to go against rigid thinking, sometimes in your own circle. And also, you showed courage, and you showed me, you would go through 60 pages of financial statements each month, keeping your eye on the cash register for the public good. And I respect that. Great job.
I'd like to speak to my personal and some of our board members' personal relationship with Debbie being on the board. Debbie's always one of the first people to welcome new members, to offer to show them the ropes of how things work. She was with me, and as a leader, both and when you're on a committee with Debbie, whether she be a leader or a member, she's always willing to help you understand the past issues and the current issues. And it has made like board service such a pleasure to work with someone that is so dedicated to what we do, dedicated to our community, and I now consider a friend. And so we wish her, we know she's going on. She can't help but continue to serve the community. She has that gene in her, but we're so glad that she spent 9 years here helping us.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Debbie, I have utmost respect for you, the way you have served this community on this board for I've been with you 8 years. And I think we've grown together. We've certainly been through all sorts of things together. And I've watched you and admired your tenacity and your meticulous note taking and I can't imagine how many notebooks she's got. I don't know,
They're going to be for sale soon.
I know it's gonna.
The book is coming.
Future big book deal. But I just wanted to say that it's been a pleasure to grow up as board members together. I think that many of us have been through so much, and I think we've evolved and we've come to such a good place together. And it's been an honor and a privilege to serve with you. So thank you, Debbie, and we'll miss you.
All right. Oh, you're going to say something? Okay.
Sorry.
I didn't want any awkward pauses. Go ahead.
Getting to know you has been a true privilege. Sorry, I'm going to do this so that I can kind of look and talk. You always read every word of every doc, and it's awesome. You dig into every detail, and it's really, really admirable. I love how you respectfully disagree. If she's like, wait, was that about me? And she'll call me up and be like, do we have a problem? And then work it out, and then there's no problem. And I respect. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for that. Your advocacy for all of our students has always been absolutely admirable, and you're going to be really missed. It's been a pleasure. Best luck to you soon.
All right. Now we'll go to public comment. So if there's anyone who would like to speak now about anything, but Debbie would be preference, then we're going to have cake, and then, but I can't tell you what to speak about. So if there's anyone who would like to speak, please come up. Share. And if you could just let us know your name.
Sure.
And we don't need to know this.
Sure.
We don't
It's
need
been a
your
long
home
time.
address. We're not coming over.
Okay.
But just.
Hi, everyone. It's very nice to see everyone. I'm Betsy Calver-Baglio, Lafayette Road. First, I have two items on the agenda, in my agenda this evening. First, to congratulate Daphne Kendall and Susan Cantor on their reelection to the board. Let me publicly state how lucky this community is that you each have decided to remain for another 3-year term. I also want to congratulate Erica Snyder on her election to the board, and I wish her a really productive and fun and meaningful board service. But my main reason for coming out this evening is to add my voice to the many accolades for my friend Debbie Braunfeld. I was lucky to serve alongside Debbie for 8 of her 9 years on the board, and I got to witness firsthand her commitment, her problem-solving skills, and her humor. While we often bonded about raising boys or our love of Boston and the Red Sox and snow, so see, you got some snow. We got snow. We also worked together very closely on topics usually related to equity, student achievement, and personnel. Debbie is proof that it is possible to hold the needs of students at the forefront and still be financially prudent. Further, Debbie's a board member who follows up. It would not be uncommon, someone else referenced this, after a long or difficult meeting, for hers to be one of the first texts or phone calls in the morning, or for a committee or for board leadership to receive an email from Debbie the next day with maybe 8 to 10 suggestions for solutions or additional thoughts. I would be remiss not to mention her eye for detail. Mara, I think you just mentioned that as well, which was enormously helpful when reviewing agendas, proposals, or presentations. So we are all grateful to you for your service, both for the public schools and the community. And I thank you all for your volunteer service to the board, and to all of you staff, happy holidays and congratulations, staff.
All right. Do we have anyone else right now? Public comment? All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Whoa,
please?
whoa, 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 whoa. I got something to read.
Oh, I should keep it here all night. Oh my God. It's 2 pages.
No, it's one. It's only one. It's only one. Okay.
All right. As long as you want.
Whew. Today is a bit bittersweet for me. 9 years is a long time to be a school board volunteer on the one hand, but it also feels like a short time when there's still so much to do. There's a huge learning curve to be an effective board member, and I appreciate the work we have all done for the students during the time I've served. There's always been 3 main areas that I've put my energy into since I joined: special education, accountability, and the budget. Margarita is a breath of fresh air for our special education community. And I'm so happy she has joined our district and is here to support all our special education students, families, and staff. Second is accountability. This includes the board, top leadership, all the way down to our students. As a board member, student education is our North Star, and reaching it means everyone must be accountable for themselves and what they need to do and what they shouldn't do. The political environment in Washington this past year has really been attacking public education on all fronts, not just in what they want us to teach, but how we are also supposed to financially support educating our students. The district and board need to keep thinking outside the box, budget-wise, so that Princeton can continue to be the best district for every student that walks through our doors. I want to thank my boys, Harrison class of 2015, Max class of 2018, for being my live action case studies about AP classes, math, music, extracurriculars, friends, homework, stress, talking in class, college, and having fun well at Littlebrook, the middle school, and PHS. You are the reasons I joined the board, to ensure every student at PPS received a free and joyful education. And your experience as students and now adulting have always been the structure of how I view issues and how I have ultimately voted on them. I love you both. I've always thought school board was the lowest level of government, especially since we're nonpartisan. But boy, was I wrong. School board members have a lot of responsibility to the taxpayers, the community, the staff, and especially to our students. I've worked hard and smart as a board member, and so have my colleagues, always putting students first. I want to thank all my fellow board members for sharing their lives, families, opinions, and views these past 9 years as we work to support our staff and oversee the district. I hope you all continue to cause a bit of good trouble for our district. And thank you to my friends who have voted for me, put lawn signs up, and been there for me, even during the tough times. Daphne, I want to thank you for 9 years of being my board colleague, my neighbor, my ride to many, many meetings, and my friend. Jason, my husband, thank you for being by my side these past 9 years and supporting me each time I ran. Thank you for listening to me to complain about a few things, and for just nodding your head when I said I had another board meeting. It has meant everything to me to have you in my corner. Over the years, I've learned a lot about myself, about education and our local and state government. I will miss the school board, and I'll miss making a difference for students, their families, and the Princeton staff. I am a very proud product of public education, and giving back to my community has truly been an honor for me. And I want to give a small shout out because my family and friends said they would be watching tonight. Thank you.
We're good?
Yep.
I can do the motion to, can I get a motion to adjourn, please? Mara, second. Beth, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll have a 15-minute break. It is 8 o'clock right now. Oh, 7:58. We'll be back at 8:15. Thank you.
And then
All
we'll
right, thank
we'll
you.
get started.
Yes.
All
All right, well,
I feel like we've
welcome
done this
back,
like
everyone.
four times.
We lost
We're
everyone.
going on a road
Yep.
show.
So we're moving on
Feel free to
now.
chime in
Yeah,
whenever you want.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you. We're moving back to the superintendent's report. Can I get a motion to restart the meeting? Beth, second. Mara, all in favor? We're good? All right, thank you. Dr. LaSusa?
Sure. Thank you, Ms. Kendall. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Tu and her team, and they are going to give a brief presentation and summary about the rollout of Arts and Letters, which is our new literacy program in grades, in the elementary grades.
Good evening, everyone. Happy December. Happy holiday season. Thanks so much. We're going to try to, be short on time tonight to honor everyone and get home to do all the tasks that they have to do before the holidays. So we are really excited to present tonight. With me is Sarah Moore, our elementary supervisor, and also Mary Ellen Wallauer, who's one of our K-5 instructional coaches who does such deep legwork with our teachers and really supporting them in their capacity to deliver instruction to our students, and especially in implementing this new program. Just briefly, why are we here tonight? We presented last year to SAC a few times about our elementary ELA program pilot. We came to the board meeting to talk about it. And then this fall, we attended 4 elementary PTO meetings to talk about the process of the why and the how. And we also went to CPAG. And so we figured, why not kind of share an overview of the major questions that we were asked during those meetings and share them with the board and the community tonight. So thank you for your time and attention. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah for a second.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for allowing us to speak tonight. So a few reasons of why these shifts happen, because the why really cements everything that we do in practice. Last year, we began on this journey because Teachers College Reading and Writing Project, which we had been using for many, many years, was dissolved in October of 2025. Because of this dissolution, 2023. Because of this dissolution, that was no longer a usable curriculum. So Ms. Wallauer can speak more to this. When we went to support teachers with instructional materials, there weren't materials to use. There were bad gateways, things are being taken down by the company because of this very public dissolution. It was on the cover of the New York Times. It was a really big deal. In addition to that, right at the same time, New Jersey adopted new ELA standards. Those standards would have not supported the previous curriculum. There were a lot of great things in that previous curriculum, and there were a lot of areas that needed bolstering and support to meet the new standards and exactly what we know is best practice for young readers. A group of over 25 educators from all 4 of our elementary schools came together. We had representation from every grade level, from general education, from special education, and from admin join in this committee to look at different vendors and have them out to present to us to say, what is the next path forward, knowing the dissolution was happening and knowing that our standards had changed and updated. We did an extremely thorough review of about 7 to 8 different vendors that came out, brought us presentations, gave us curricular materials, and our committee delved deeply in. We know that we wanted to be rooted in a few non-essential things that included high standards of quality education, diverse book offerings where students could see themselves. We wanted rigorous content, structured writing opportunities, and close, deep reading experiences and various genres. One thing that we know from testing, again, while testing is one little dot around a whole profile of a learner, we did see pretty consistent trends that our students were lacking in nonfiction. So we definitely wanted to make sure that students were exposed to a variety of text and genres. We wanted things like poetry and play to be brought into the forefront. And we wanted an entry point for all learners. So we wanted to look at how our multilingual learners were acquiring language and literacy skills. We wanted more structured approaches for students with IEPs and more on-ramps so that all students could be successful. We did launch pilot classrooms across all 4 buildings in our district and across every grade level. We had both general education, we had self-contained settings, and then we had co-taught inclusion settings. So we wanted a variety of viewpoints as we entered into this work. Non-pilot teachers were invited throughout the entire spring last year to view, come, join us in informational sessions. Ms. Waller was hugely instrumental in getting pilot teachers set up and bringing in our other teachers to view the work that was happening across. After all of our piloting and delving and talking to vendors and really seeing what was best for Princeton and the students in front of us, we had 95% of our committee vote in full adoption of arts and letters. Okay, so what is it? It's an English language arts program that delves into the world of rich, authentic text and a topic of discovery. These classrooms are brimming with curiosity. They are loud. There are Socratic seminars happening. Students are actively engaged in discourse. They are looking at diverse information text, nonfiction, fiction, plays, poetry. They are looking at exemplary writing models and using graphic organizers to structure their writing around text. We have seen great results with the program so far this fall, where students are heavily engaged in the coursework in front of them.
Can I just add something here,
absolutely.
Sarah? So when we looked at some of the new program providers and vendors as the committee, one of the things that we saw was sort of there's shifts in education and pendulum swings. And so with Teachers College, it's very student-centered, and students read what they want to read, that grades is their interest around a subtopic genre, and they write sort of in this big open bucket. And then the other vendors that we saw that were not arts and letters were like basal readers. So when we were growing up, if you remember, it was sort of like short excerpts and then comprehension questions. And we really felt it was important as a committee that children were reading whole text, diverse text, and really applying their knowledge in new ways. And in this chart here, you can see K through 5, the different, what we call modules in arts and letters, and they're very high interest. So there's a myth unit in 4th grade. And in every module, there is a piece of art that sort of lands the unit. And it's a really great connection to our new updated university museum. So we have an upcoming PD day, and we have one of our elementary art teachers and one of our 1st grade teachers co-planning a PD visit site with our PPS teachers to go to the university and connect even further with this work. So we really love these interdisciplinary connections. And as a social studies educator, to see the experiences that these kids are talking about with civil rights or the American West. And what's really nice too is even in that module, there's fiction, there's poetry, there's plays, there's video clips, there's multimedia presence, because the standards really emphasize that. So when we talk about Teachers College, it wasn't all bad, as Ms. Moore had shared, but when we know better, we do better. And what we were seeing is without explicit reading and writing instruction, kids were falling behind. And that's not okay. We want to support all kids in Princeton. And we also want to align, we're a public school, to the new New Jersey standards. So do you want to give your example, Sarah, about the music?
So I'm an arts person. I'm sure you can tell by my affect. I did theater and opera and play piano and ukulele. When I was 8 and learning piano for the first time, someone didn't play a symphony for me. And I said, okay, my turn. I can do this now, right? I learned notes and scales and how to read music. And then I put that together. And eventually I was able to play Moonlight Sonata. Learning to read requires the same explicit instruction and build. It is silly to expose a child to a text and say, okay, now your turn. You go write like this, you go read. But I'm not going to teach you the foundational skills that you need to access, right? It's a build. There are multiple components of teaching young children how to learn to read and write. And we wanted to provide explicit on-ramps for all students so that all of our students felt they had a successful entry point into curriculum. Okay. Writing. Writing is something that we've heard a lot about this year. Arts and letters focuses on 3 main genres. Those are standards aligned genres. They are also the same genres we had in Teachers College. They are narrative, opinion, and informational. They happen across K through 5 continuum. Creative writing opportunities are embedded in several different tasks throughout a student's time in arts and letters. Heggerty writing was also purchased because we wanted even more touch points for explicit writing practice. So Heggerty writing is a supplemental resource. It has about 5 minutes a day of daily writing quick lessons with teachers. And it also provides students additional work. So if they didn't get that lesson on nouns, here's another touch point for you. Or if you need a little bit more of a specific practice with adjectives, here you go, we have this for you. It was just something else that a teacher didn't feel like I had to go to the internet to search for, that it was provided for me. Creative writing is promoted during certain units of arts and letters. It is not in every unit, but it's promoted in certain units. And then a lot of our staff have been leveraging volume of reading and focus blocks in the day to promote creative writing and tie it into their arts and letters sequencing. Writing is expected to occur every day within the 60-minute ELA block. It is an embedded program where reading and writing happen simultaneously. Yeah. So here are some examples. Ms. Wallauer and I get to do a lot of classroom visits. Yes, feel free to chime in. So these are some poems that we saw around being kind and good and brave-hearted in 4th grade. Their whole unit, Ms. Wallauer, if you want to explain.
So arts and letters works on a lot of analytical work. So we always think of fiction and informational writing and reading together. So we were examining figuratively what it means to have a great heart, and then really what is the circulatory system and systems of the body. So this knowledge building curriculum is an excellent way for students to tap into their curiosity, and that sparks a lot of creativity in writing. So this teacher decided to do some poetry work with her class surrounding that module. I think we have a few.
Yep, we have a few more examples. This teacher chose in third grade to have students write stories and tie them into some of the topics they'd experienced in the module thus far. It was third grade. It was the module of sea and space. So students had written some stories focusing on those as settings or different tie-ins for them. This was our favorite. This was first grade. If you want to explain a little bit about it. So sweet.
First grade tapped into their first module was why are books important, and not just the joy of reading and writing, but also the importance of keeping it close. So they, as a culminating project, they made little free libraries. They were reading a lot of books about ways to, get books into hands of everyone, and throughout, history, how important that is. So they created their own little free libraries. The students authored all of the books that are inside of them. The teachers were able to get some Amazon bakery boxes and then displayed them throughout their schools. So, and I think actually they took them out to the community, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So just an excellent way to kind of celebrate that joy of reading and writing. And that was from our first grade class.
So you heard me mention that volume of reading and focus time. So that time equals out to an hour a day. The great thing about Princeton is that we offer so many programs for students. The hard thing is we only have so much time in a day. So to not disrupt core content, we do provide these times of day where students get exactly what they need, whether they need to go for a related service or they're doing small group work in the classroom. It is a time that our teachers can leverage things like that additional writing, Heggerty writing component, creative writing outlets, book clubs. In 4th and 5th grade specifically, they really love to bring in book clubs and have discourse around novels that they love to study, reading groups, project-based learning math tasks, exemplars, which are higher level math application, problem-solving skills, and open-ended tasks, and then versatiles, which are another math extension activity. Teacher support. I will just take a moment. This time of year, I think it's very important to express gratitude. So I am very grateful to work with an excellent board that supports when we say that we need to look at new things and we need to figure out a new program, that you were on board to do that with us. I'm very, very grateful for Dr. LaSouza and Dr. Tu and Dr. Baldeo, who really have supported this. I've called Dr. Tu at all hours of the day saying, help, or what do you think of this? Ms. Wallauer is emailing back at 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. and texting me at midnight saying, like, how can we best support this teacher? What do you think of this idea? This is truly an all hands on deck approach. And I'm the most grateful for teachers because it's very uncomfortable to launch a new curricular program. I know there are many teachers who are in tears on the weekend saying, how can I make this? Or this feels uncomfortable for me right now. I've been a teacher for 22 years. This is brand new. I feel uncomfortable with this. I'm very grateful for everyone for sticking with us this fall in a new program because it is uncomfortable to learn something new and to be vulnerable in that way. So very grateful for everyone in the room for doing this work because it is what's best for children. So extremely, extremely grateful. Thank you all. So as we navigate new curriculum, teacher support is at the forefront of everything that we are thinking about and planning. Teacher support is offered in the following ways. We have monthly grade level curriculum check-ins. Ms. Wallauer, myself, Mr. Hardiker, our math coach, and the building admin principals join each grade level and say, what exactly do you need? If you are a second grade teacher in this building, what does the second grade team's need here? How can we best support you? This happens at every single grade level at every single elementary school once a month. We have 4 times a year coaching cohorts for both math and ELA. If you want to share a little bit about what they look like.
So coaching cohorts are building based. We've tried a variety of ways to kind of implement them. Sometimes we have cross-district cohorts where teachers from each grade level come and meet and share ideas, but really it's facilitation of resources, launching new units, making sure that everything is prepared for the teachers so that their first and most important priority is to focus on their teaching work. So any of the legwork that's kind of behind the scenes is done for them. So when we launched we had our last cohort, and every single material that the teacher would need to launch their new unit was prepared and made for them. Any assessments, any instructional overviews, any materials list, getting ready guides, samples, examples of your volume of reading book displays, what that could look like, and then time for Q&A and to talk together as colleagues, which is so important and vital, especially when taking on something new. So together we can do so much more. This work is so important to have those thought partners and to really just have the support of the district to give us time to do that. It means everything. So I think that once we had that first cohort where we were able to do that work, I felt like it was lighter. You know, this hard work of launching something new becomes lighter when we do it together. Mm-hmm. So those cohorts are vital in addition to those grade level meetings. And then just our run of the mill, like, you know, instructional meetings, we co-plan, we co-teach, we talk together, do lots of Q&A with Sarah. So anything we can do to support teachers in this important work is a part of our job.
We also wanted more direct, tailored PD from the company specifically. So Arts and Letters will be on site once a month. They were supposed to start with us this week, but our rep got really ill and didn't want to spread illness to us, which we are thankful for. So she will be with us hopefully the second week of January launching, and will be with us once a month with every building, doing this deep work with teachers and making it relevant for Princeton. And then we have faculty meeting time on Mondays. So lots of teacher support frameworks built in.
And I'm just want to wrap it up with saying two things. One of the things, and one of the reasons why I think Arts and Letters is also really impactful, is that it's a knowledge building curriculum. So what that means is that a lot of times kids can decode, but then they hit a roadblock because they don't know about the context that they're reading, or they don't have the background knowledge in what they're reading. And we did a really great exercise with the program provider, and it was an article about cricket. And if you know anything about cricket, it's very technical and it's very different than our sport. So I had studied abroad in England a very long time ago, so I could get the gist. I could read it. I'm like, oh, this is about cricket. But most people in the room did not have that context and didn't understand what the article was saying. And it was a really good exercise to understand that not every kid gets to go to the Princeton University Art Museum. Not every kid gets read to at night or goes to different experiences or doesn't have the opportunity to go on trips with their family on the weekend or during the summer, or maybe it just they haven't been exposed to it. They're interested in one thing and not another. So it's really important that we provide that access and opportunity for kids within the school day to learn about these things and build that schema and grow. And so I had a parent last week reach out. Her daughter was writing about buffalo on the weekend. She was interested. She got inspired by the decimation of the American bison. It's a horrible tale, but was really hopeful and talked about conservation and how we can support our wildlife because she read a couple books about the American West in our school. So it was just, the mom was like, she wanted to talk about buffalo, like very, it's very interesting. So these are the things that we want. And all of us have children, and we wouldn't put something in front of children that we wouldn't put in front of our own. I'm actually very jealous that we have this program here and not in my daughter's home district, because I see what kids can do with it. And the quality of writing that they're producing is amazing. The discourse that's happening in the classroom. So I really want to give kudos again to our teachers. This is the hardest thing you can do, is implement a new ELA curriculum. It's been a tough year, but I think the burden has been eased a lot by the support of the two women behind me. I can imagine when anyone needs help with pacing or figuring it out, they're in the classroom, co-planning with them, giving them resources, setting it up. They really anticipate needs. So I really want to thank them for the time and energy, because often, they're the sounding board and really keep things going. So we can take questions from the board if there's any questions.
Sure. So thank you so much. We appreciate your coming here tonight and sharing this with us. So I guess the Arts and Letters, they were supposed to be here this week, right, to talk about with some teachers, right? And so the rep was sick, and so they'll be coming in early January. And then are they meeting with all the teachers together at that time, or by building?
No, what's great is they're here for 4 days. And so each day of the week, they're here at a different building. And then there's going to be grade level check-ins. So there'll be blocks of time for each grade level to sit and co-plan with Sarah, with Mary Ellen, and with the rep.
And, you said that, what was it? Teachers College was disbanded, right?
Yes.
But there's also some concern about like some of the credibility of the research that was done by the founder, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of controversy there.
Yeah.
And so what we say is like, it wasn't all bad, but when we know better, we do better.
I think it was a lot bad.
There was, I think
Especially
some
for
kids,
special ed kids.
so
Yeah.
I would say some kids could, no matter what you put in front of them, flourish. We know that a lot of kids, including my own daughter, needs explicit reading and writing instruction. And there's a lovely graphic, Sarah, I forget the researcher's name, maybe Sarah remembers, of a ladder. And it talks about there's only 5% of kids who can go on without explicit reading instruction. And 95% of kids benefit from it.
Well, it's so funny because when teachers college, it was all the rage and blah, 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 and everything got their own book and there was no group discussion. And I was just thinking, this doesn't like make any sense, right? Right. And but I'm not an educator, so what do I know? And it's Columbia University.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's really interesting now. So let's not, I don't know if we have a non-disparagement agreement against Lucy Calkins, but let's say it did not serve all kids. And on top of that, it disbanded, there's no more curriculum. So it's not like
we had
got
to switch. Yeah.
Yes. We got to the fork in the road and we took it.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're a lighthouse in this area. I would say that other districts are now piloting arts and letters because Sarah's leadership of saying, like, we need to be ahead of this.
Right.
And we need to be beyond this. And that's why we instituted Orton Gillingham training and certification a few years ago. And that marries beautifully with this arts and letters
But
program.
Sarah, don't be helping other districts. We need you focused
I
here.
feel a moral obligation to help. You know, Ms. Kendall, I will say, what you were saying speaks to me, right? I will share anecdotally very quickly because I know it is late and I know it is the holiday season. When I was going through my master's program and I was in classrooms, right? And I was doing the student teaching aspects. I remember being so excited to go into a second grade classroom, this, a 21-year-old kid. And I couldn't wait to work with the students. And literacy for me is the biggest equalizer. It is a civil right. It is not an option that a child leaves us illiterate. It is not. That is a moral sin to me. I remember being 21 and being like, I'm so excited. Teach me how to teach them to read, right? It's going to open up a whole world. And I was a reader. And then I didn't understand because my cooperating teacher, who was lovely and had been in the classroom for many years, told me they just get it. And I said, I don't understand what that means. She's like, no, they're going to pick it up like through osmosis. And, we're going to read these books with them and they're going to get it. And I said, no, but when do we teach them how to learn to read? And that was a question that stayed with me very early on in my career. When do we teach them to learn how to read? And I'm very privileged to say now we teach them how to read with us here today. And that always stayed with me. So thank you for bringing up that point. Yep.
Eleanor, sorry.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I have a fourth graders who's been experiencing arts and letters, and so just as an example of what it's like for the kids in the program, like recently in her class, they've been reading Greek myths, and then studying the statue of the winged victory, the lady with no head, so that she came home talking about that, and then writing stories set in ancient Greece with characters who interact with Greek gods. And then I hear her and her friends talking about, do you know Perseus? Do you know Nemesis? Like, this is the story. And they now have this shared sort of, this shared understanding of Greek mythology that builds their conversations. So I appreciate it.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also just want to thank you because I had 3 kids that went through the system, and like Daphne, we would get this words their way, or these strange things would come home about spelling. And we were just perplexed by what they were doing in school. And we tried to do all these other extra things outside.
Yes.
But to hear that all the children are being given an access to literacy and to, be able to move on. And I guess what I'd love to hear in the future to be continued is how we're articulating this all the way up.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what you're going to do in the middle school, what we're doing, how it fits with the high school. And the one thing I'll say in the high school is that we do a research paper. We never teach them how to do a research paper.
They learn now in 4th and 5th grade how to do research paper.
Yes.
Miss Moore is K5, so we'll bring someone else in to talk about that.
But we are doing a humanities program review, and there should be surveys and focus groups going out in the late, like January, February. So this leads to the work.
Adam?
Anecdotal too. It's funny how things go. Back when I was in school, we had reading and recovery, which we're kind of doing now, what you're doing now. But I guess my question is, what you're doing now is prescriptive and diagnose. You can diagnose things, catch people earlier, get them up to grade level by 5th grade. In a matter of way.
I mean, that's the ideal. I will anecdotally, I know it's late, but I think this is really important. I was observing a staff member in an IEP meeting yesterday, and, there was staff there who, I wasn't there for them, but I was so impressed by the gen ed teacher who came to the room talking. First of all, they talked about the student as a human being, right? But then had so much great data from the child. She had the child's arts and letters work. She had the OG writing. She had sight word analysis. She had the I read, like, so you could clearly see that this child needed support beyond academic support or beyond our tier 3 tutoring. It was like someone was like, she was a lawyer presenting to a judge, like, bop, 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 bop. Like, this is evident that this is why this child needs more support than we want to go to an evaluation. And it was just handled so well. And so that is our goal, Adam, is that early intervention so that we have these different things. Kids are more than numbers, but we also want to rely on some of these systems so that we can address concerns later. Because I was a middle school teacher years ago, and they get to 6th grade. I'm like, how did you get here without anyone knowing that there was reading issues or learning issues here? And we don't want that on our watch. And so we're trying to do better.
So,
and I guess the second one, she approached, there seemed to be like a curriculum disconnect at the elementary school and the middle school, and that's being addressed through this. I think Sarah was touching on that though. So there's some uniformity. The teachers can still teach in discretion, but the uniformity.
Yeah, so that's what the whole point of the program review then for the middle and high school is kind of saying, well, what's working and what's not, and how do we have a scope and sequence for teaching these skills and improve upon there as well. Yes.
And the last one, parents buy into this too. Their students are improving. I'm sure they have confidence. The parents can see this is working.
I think it's new, right? So I have some parents who have a lot of questions, which I think that's fair. That's the whole point of being a parent. And so because it's very, with Teachers College, a lot of kids who were really bright, like they just had to read on their own and write on their own. And now they have to have this shared experience. And some kids like that and some kids don't. The early grades, they don't know any different, So I think as units go on, like mythology is always an easy win. Like, kids love mythology. They get more and more excited and love it more.
And I just want to say, change is hard, right?
Yes.
And especially for educators. So I appreciate your patience with them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they all appreciate your support.
Yeah.
And whatever we can do to help you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please let us
We
know.
appreciate it. And thank you for letting us present tonight. I think this hopefully closes our grand tour.
Is it sane to be texting at 11 p.m.? That dedication?
Well,
We
that's
really love kids and care about them the most. So
yeah.
that's it.
These are two of the hardest working people in the world next to me, but they do need to take some breaks. I would agree with that, Adam. So, but thank you both for being
Thank
here
you.
tonight.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, student board member report. Annie? I'm sorry, not Annie. Ash, sorry.
Yes, so Ani is not here with us tonight, but that's all right. Okay, so starting out. So following our last report where we talked about AI, we are currently in the process of surveying the whole student body on their use and perception of AI. And we've hit a little bit of trouble in terms of voluntary response versus like random sampling, but we're working on solving that right now. And our goal in conducting this and future surveys is to give the board more insight on both students' perception of AI and their usage of it, so that policy can be collaborative and better understood and respected by the students. And then these are just our general inquiry questions. These aren't the questions that we're surveying on. They're just the general ideas that we're creating questions based on. So number 1 is how are students currently using AI for academic, creative, and personal purposes? And then number 2 is what impacts, both positive and negative, does AI usage have on students' learning habits, skills, and academic integrity? And then the last one is how do students perceive AI's role in education and what support or guidelines do they feel are needed for its responsible and effective use? And then we'll continue to survey and report data on these questions through the year. And then for the arts and extracurricular update, Spectacle Theater had 4 fantastic performances of Clue, and there was a great turnout. I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but I saw it. It was pretty good. And the tech crew had a really cool set with rooms that slid across the stage. It was very nice. And then last week, the Legally Blonde cast list also came out, and that'll be performing in early March. And then the Princeton Student Board, which is a township organization, hosted their annual dodgeball tournament at PHS, and there were 200 student participants across 20 teams. And there's always playful rivalry between the boys from each school. So this year was no different, but it was great to see our Princeton boys working together. There was a lot of great teamwork. And then Student Council is hosting Stew Cocoa on Wednesdays, where we sell hot chocolate after school, and we're also doing candy cane grams and doing holiday movie nights with the students. So that's pretty fun. And tomorrow's Spirit Day is dress in your best festive headwear. If anyone wants to do that. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. I have a question about the AI survey. So are you asking about integrity? Samara is ready to go. Okay, sorry. I tried. With AI, right, AI is part of our lives now, right? But I don't know if you've seen some of the headlines, but I just read something where teachers are looking in college are now doing oral exams, right? Because they're so worried about AI being the voice. And so I wonder, right, it's like a dual part. Like AI is very valuable for some things, but how are you asking if students are aware that there are consequences for the misuse?
Just to clarify, do you mean consequences on their own learning or consequences like from the school?
Everything, right? So consequences on your own learning, right? How does it affect your learning? And second, are you disclosing that something that is not your own work?
Yeah. So, well, we don't have incredible data yet just because when we sent out a survey, but it's voluntary response, which if any of you, I'm currently taking AP statistics. So voluntary response is you can put out a survey and whoever wants to respond responds. And so usually that attracts people who feel very strongly either one way or the other because they want to make their voice heard, as opposed to random sampling, which is where if we had a list of all the students, we randomly selected them in some way and we sent them out. So we're getting some very strong opinions on both sides. But in terms of consequences, we have like a section of the questions, which is impact on learning skills. And there's two questions that I'll just read for you. One of them is, I rely on AI to complete work that I might struggle to do on my own, which is a scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And then one of them is, AI has improved my writing, studying, or problem solving skills, which is also a scale. And then for academic integrity, we have a couple questions on if students believe that they understand the AI policy and if they think that it's like good or effective. And then asking if they have ever used AI in a way that would violate guidelines. A lot of students don't want to admit that they have. So we're trying to find ways to get around that.
Get around it.
Get around it in the sense where making students not feel like they don't want to tell on themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Thank you. We'd be interested in seeing the results of that survey. So definitely some quotes we would love to hear. Thank you. Thanks very much for your report. Moving on now, we have a public comment. So if there's anyone who would like, no one wants to talk to us? You just came to say hi? Yeah. You miss us. It's okay. All right, no one wants to take us up on public comment, so we're moving on to J, 1 and 2, harassment, intimidation, bullying, acceptance, harassment, intimidation, and bullying, affirmation, and then we're going on to K1, board committee reports. We're going to start with long-term planning. Beth, she was looking at me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be really brief, right?
No, yeah, we met.
Mars alarm went off.
I just realized I don't even have my notes in front of me. We met.
Do you want me to go to operations first and
Yes,
I'll come
please.
back to you?
Yes.
Operations.
Thank you.
Hi, we met on December 11th at 1 p.m. on Zoom. We first went over very briefly the final actions to close out some of last summer's referendum projects. We also, as we always do, discuss sustainability. We discuss potential solar that the district is exploring, and we discussed a lot about trees and where we're putting in trees and where we might remove some trees that have been causing some issues. On the agenda tonight, we have some referendum bids that had gone out that we'll be accepting. The first one was on HVAC equipment at Princeton Middle School for a total of $1.853316 million. This bid did have to leave out one or two small aspects of the project, and we did discuss how going forward we might be able to do those parts of the project, but not through the referendum. We have a second bid that will be accepted, but we will not vote on it tonight. We'll vote on it in our next meeting, which is on the site upgrades at Littlebrook, JP, and Riverside for $1.67 million. Due also to slightly higher bids. There's a couple smaller aspects of the project at PMS that we're also going to have to discuss ways we might be able to do, but not through this referendum to keep us on budget. Also on tonight's agenda are two projects from the Capital Reserve for approval. They're for $195,000 and $135,000 to update communications and PA systems throughout the district. And our next operations meeting is on January 2nd at 1 on Zoom.
Thank you, Susan. Do we know why the bids came in higher? Are we experiencing the effect of tariffs?
They didn't say it was specifically to tariffs. It
Mhm.
was just, I think it was, again, another year has gone by since we got bids and prices go up.
Thank you. You ready, Beth?
Yes, I'm ready.
Let's go.
Long-term planning. Long-term planning met on December 9th, and actually the most exciting thing is that we spent our time talking about getting out the bids for the projects, the capacity projects that were approved in January, the $89 million worth of projects at 4 schools. So I believe we're first going to start launching the bids for the middle school and community park very soon. And then shortly thereafter, we will be doing them for the high school and for Littlebrook. They'll be spaced apart slightly. There's the idea of how do you strategically space them to make sure you get the most options and the most choices and the best pricing. So we had a very robust discussion about that in our meeting, and we really appreciate the team. There's been a number of state approvals that we were waiting for that have finally kind of come through, and the ones that are left are more a matter of course that we expect to have in hand. So the bids will be happening, I think they start next week. Opening bid?
Be advertised
Next
this
week.
And then we will open starting January 27th and then February 3rd.
So we expect to award in early February.
We will probably call a special meeting in early February.
Right. So it's very exciting to move those things forward.
Yeah. And we do have some good news with kind of like a change. I think it's good news with the high school.
Yeah.
So did you want to?
Well, I think that we were very
Yeah.
pleased to hear that
Yes.
we all thought that the high school work would be done at the very last,
Right.
right? That we'd have to wait until the middle school was all finished. And
Yeah.
because
So let me
we
take a
moved-
step back. So we're going to add 3 to 4 classrooms in the high school where our tech department was.
Right.
And so the tech department has moved out really of that space. So that space is unused now, which will allow us to move quicker to renovate that
and make more
space
space in the high school.
and make
Yeah.
more space at the high school
Yeah.
where that was going to be at the end.
Yeah.
So do you want to speak to how that might affect the middle school project, or are we not ready?
I don't think so. I
No?
just think
Okay.
it's, we appreciate that the
Yeah.
tech group is kind of, using their space most efficiently and has moved a lot to Valley Road. And so we'll be able to be moving forward on all the projects, up in the high school in particular sooner than we
Yeah.
thought.
And that's really good news because the high school is at a utilization rate of like over 90%, right? So
95, I think, yeah.
even though the enrollment hasn't ticked up yet, this is going to allow for some more flexibility in programming. So this
Right.
is really good news.
And these projects, again, to remind the public, they will take through 2028, 2029 before they're all finished. I mean, it's going to take a while. These are significant changes in our school. So we've been anxious to get moving and kind of get things started. And we hope
No,
to
you've been
break
doing a great
ground
job, Beth.
next summer.
Beth has
Well,
worried
me.
for all of us.
Single-handedly. No, we've
Yes.
got a great team.
No, we have a good team, but you've definitely been,
I'm
keeping
the-
that sense of urgency. So thank
I
you.
do bother people. Okay, and our next meeting, I'm used to it. Our next meeting is January 20th at 1 o'clock.
Thanks so much. All right, moving on, personnel.
Yes.
Oh, Debbie's last personnel. I did forget to say that this is Debbie's personnel report. It was all confidential. Did I just give it to you?
Close.
All
The Personnel Committee met on December 9th. We were given an update on the first round of tenure observations for all 6 schools. And then we discussed a lot of personnel issues.
It's confidential. You do not know that.
I don't know when the next meeting is. You'll have to look at the calendar.
It's confidential.
But I want to thank my co-chair, Mara, for making our pre and regular meetings informative and fun. And thanks to the rest of the committee, Daphne, Eleanor, and Beth for a productive year. And thanks to Susan and Chris for always being able to sub in. And Angela and Lucy, thanks for being so flexible with adding and looking up many personal items for us.
All right, thank you. Policy? Oh, okay. Policy.
Okay, policy. We don't have a lot on the agenda tonight. We don't have any formal policies to push forward. We
No.
met on, we did meet on December 4th and had some good discussions about things that are kind of perking along and hearing what's being worked on internally. And of course, we always continually are looking at the cell phone issues and how we use technology in the schools. So we look forward to moving that forward and being proactive about some of those things as soon as we can. And the one thing I will say, just for my fellow board members, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. is the Garden State Coalition of Schools monthly meeting. And it's going to be kind of a press, like we're bringing in members of the press to talk about current issues and important issues. And I think for all of us, it's really important that we kind of pick our heads up and pay attention to what's happening at the state level. We're at a time of transition. And there is, I keep saying we have an existential threat to public education in New Jersey because there's still people pushing for charters, and there's things that are stressing our finances, and there are issues with staffing, and there's federal issues coming down. So I think for all of us to be most effective at our jobs, we need to pay attention. And I invite you all to join tomorrow. It's 9 a.m. via Zoom, and we all had an email about it. And if you didn't, I'm happy to share those details. But
I don't think I had an email.
We'll be talking about hot topics.
You're our person there, so keep us posted. But,
well, I will keep you posted,
Yeah.
but I do think it's important for us all to be kind of, knowledgeable about what's going on at the larger level, because
Absolutely.
it affects us every day.
I can second that. Yeah, it's
So-
whatever side of the aisle you're on, there's going to be some heavy changes.
Yeah, it's going to be a Meet the Press type gathering tomorrow with Carly Citron of Chalkbeat and Julie O'Connor of New Jersey Spotlight. She's the new person. And they're going to ask the audience, and people are going to talk about the things that they're most concerned about, and hoping that happens with the new governor. And it includes the reworking of the SEFRA formula, so that's really important to us.
and that's a school funding formula.
School funding
Yep.
formula, coping with the uncertainties of the federal level, possible outcomes of the desegregation lawsuit that's ongoing in the state. There's lots of structural discussions about what we do with consolidate districts. How is that going to be addressed, and the new assessments that have come out, and also staffing shortages. So again, 9 a.m. tomorrow, I'm putting a plug for that.
Thank you. But keep us posted.
Our next policy meeting is January 13th.
Great, because I did not get an email. But all right, moving on, student achievement. Eleanor, all right.
So the Student Achievement Committee met on Thursday, December 11th at 9 for what was sadly my last meeting with Debbie as co-chair. And we had one item on our open agenda, which was the high school's program of studies, which is on the agenda here for approval tonight. Two notable changes are 2 new science classes and the elimination of the rule against taking 2 AP courses in the humanities concurrently. Both these changes increase the breadth of educational opportunities open to our students. And our next meeting will be on January 22nd at 9 o'clock on Zoom. You should come.
Okay, I'll write that down. All right, and then last but it's the last. Debbie, your last committee report on equity.
Yes, the Equity Committee met on December 4th in person. We had a presentation from Brian Dubinsky about athletic participation for the fall season. We discussed several winter sports and the number of students participating. We discussed coaches and the increase in rental fees for fields and courses. We then discussed the aftercare program, including the YMCA, Princeton Young Achievers, Tiger Time, and PTO activities. Again, I don't know when the next meeting is, but I do want to thank Kathy Foster, Kim, and Mike for continuing to support the Equity Committee, and thank my committee, Daphne, Ari, Eleanor, and Adam.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Yep, and we will continue it on. Okay, that's everything. All right, moving on now to the rest of the agenda. We have L1 resignation, L2 retirement. I just wanted to wish Olive Giles, who's been a secretary at the high school for 32 years, has submitted her retirement, and she's done. She's leaving next week. We want to wish her all the best. She was always a smiling face, and we wish Olive a long and healthy retirement. Moving on, L3 appointments, L4 personnel items, L5 leave of absence, L6 curriculum and instruction, L7 student services, L8 substitute student placement, L9 transfer reassignment, L10 6-period compensation, L11 athletic appointments, M1 the PHS program of studies that Eleanor mentioned. This will be on the website, Kim,
Probably by the end of the week.
by the end of the week.
Yeah.
Yep. So it'll be on the end of the week. And then M2, we have our chronic absenteeism action plan. Can we just really speak very quickly to what that is and why it's on the agenda?
Any school in the state of New Jersey that has an absenteeism rate greater than 10% over the course of a year is deemed to have a chronic absenteeism problem. So the year before last, both the middle school and the high school exceeded the 10% threshold. And then last year, we're waiting for the public release of what the absenteeism rates are at both of those schools. But in either case, we need a requirement in the state is that we place both schools on an action plan. And during QSAC, our county executive superintendent will look for 2 items: a board resolution to that effect, and then a parent survey. So we will be sending out a brief parent survey at both the middle school and the high school about attendance at school and obstacles and barriers to attending school.
And also, there was some question about our record keeping, and we're improving that
Yes,
as well.
part of the action plan as written involves taking a closer look at our student information system, which is PowerSchool, how we have been maintaining records in PowerSchool, how we've been moving records and recognizing students who transfer out of district from school to school, and looking just at our internal processes for making sure that we're accurate in how we account for students.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Moving on, we have N1 student services, special education, educational placement of students, and now we're going on to the business. 1, 2, and 3 are word of contracts that Susan mentioned, building management system, HVAC, and PA system upgrades. 04 is construction payments. 05 is financial reports. 06 fire and evacuation drills. 07 is formal bid transportation award. 08 is funds transfer. 09 is grant donation acceptance that the student from Princeton High School and the tower wrote, which is $13,700, and we appreciate very much his efforts. 10, thank you, is, I forget the letter. That's why. Anyway, 10, items for disposal or sale. 11, SJS grant resolution, which we are making a grant for. We're getting a grant. Yeah.
It's in 10,000, 2,000, 2,000.
Right. I think it's drip irrigation. The 10,000 grant for Princeton High School will help renovate the courtyard. That's excellent to make the space useful for student research and gardening. And Community Park School will revitalize their garden with new pots, beds, and fencing. And hopefully that will be unaffected by the upcoming construction.
It's on the other side.
Excellent. I couldn't remember. I remember there was no, I know, but I remember at one point we were talking about disrupting the garden. Anyway, never mind. 012 registration travel agenda. We're moving on to our third public comment of tonight. Anyone? Jess? Nothing? All right.
Oh, okay.
No, what were you saying?
I was trying to see what you just talked about for the high school, the courtyards, but I don't see it in.
It's 011 SJS grant resolution. So sustainable.
It's in the paragraph there
I
for.
missed it. Okay, thank
But
you.
what is S? Sustainable Jersey? What's the other S?
Thank
Oh, for
you.
schools.
Jersey schools.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Pleasure. And now we're moving on to approve consent agenda item. Can I get a motion? Beth, second. Debbie.
Debbie Kendall,
Yes.
Beth Bayron,
Yes.
Adam Bierman,
Yes.
Debbie Bronco,
Yes.
Mara Franceschi,
Yes.
Eleanor Hubbard,
Yes.
Susan Cantor,
Yes.
Mario Mizell,
Yes.
Christopher Santarpio.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Excellent. So this is our last board meeting of the year. We wish everyone happy holidays, whatever they are celebrating. Our reorganization meeting is January
6. Tuesday.
Tuesday. And do we have a time?
I think
6?
it's 6.
6.
We have to move the appeal here.
Yes. Okay. So
I was thinking doing that at 6.
we can't though, because the new board member isn't sworn in. Anyway, we'll talk about it. But I also really quickly wanted to talk about the main board meeting. So Dr. Lucius and I have been talking just about the meeting cadence and everything. And when I first joined the board, these meetings started at 8 o'clock. Yeah. And so we moved it to 7:30. And so I was just, again, thinking out loud. I was like, what if we moved it to 7? So we could have, Debbie's okay with it. So, yeah, so that means we would start, if we need a longer closed session, we would start at 5:30. Otherwise, we would start at 6, and then we would do the open meeting at 7. That would give, we'd be done half hour earlier. Our admin are here. Our student rep is supporting it, but our admin are here, at 7:30 in the morning. What does everyone think?
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm in favor.
Look at me.
Eleanor, yep.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So if you're okay with that, I hope you don't have to renotice a whole bunch of meetings.
We haven't noticed the next round of meetings yet, so we're fine.
Okay. So great. So in the new year, our public meetings will start at 7 p.m. Yeah. No, thank you. And with that, can I get a motion to adjourn? Debbie, second Ari, all in favor?
All right.
All right. Have a good night. Thank you, Kaz.